Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 74. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and as always, I'm joined by Dory. How's everything going, Dory?
Hello, everything's going pretty good. I have been playing a lot of Digimon Time Strangers, so we'll be talking about that this week. I know we talked about it last week, but I couldn't really give any input because I was like a few hours in past the demo. So this week I'm going to give real concrete, actual impressions, and Seb's going to talk about Absolum, which he's been playing, and I love the look of that game, so I'm excited to hear what he has to say about it. And then we also have another Halloween discussion topic. And of course, as the thumbnail impresses upon you, we will talk about Little Nightmares 3. Mostly Seb will talk about that, and I'll ask questions every now and then. But yeah, it's been a good week. Kim and I are halfway through our horror movie list and excited to put that video out next month to talk about what we watched. And it was Xena's birthday yesterday. I don't know if the camera can get her, but there she is, 4 years old. Our first birthday with her, or her first birthday with us. He spoiled her with this doggy, this like little small dog cake. So she had a good time. But yeah, everything's great on my end. Let's get to talking about games.
So, we're going to start with our next Halloween topic of the year, which is going to be the best games to play around Halloween slash the fall season. So, these games are not necessarily Halloween games in terms of being horror games, these are pretty much all non horror games. But these are the games to play around the fall season. So they have like an autumn feel to them. All right, like brown, red, orange leaves, the pumpkins, that like just that kind of feel to it. But also some of them are definitely games you should play around Halloween because they have a Halloween aesthetic or they take place during Halloween. So let me start with mine, which would be Costume Quest 1 and 2, which are literally Halloween games because they take place on Halloween, right? They're trick-or-treaters. They're you play as kids. You walk around the neighborhood. It's a turn-based RPG, and you collect candy, and there's a storyline to it, and it's pretty good. It's a really nice, short RPG to play around Halloween, and it's made by Double Fine, who we're going to talk about their next game next week. And
Yep.
I absolutely love Double Fine, and those are really. I mean, it's one of the definitive Halloween games, I think, because it's one of the only games that takes place actually on the holiday, and it's whimsical. It's for kids, but it still has a little bit of an edge to it, so it's not like an adult can't play it. But it's really worth playing for people. So, Costume Quest 1 and so I'm combining the first and the second game together because they're very similar. And I strongly recommend people play them. All right, What's your first game, Dory?
Sure. So, in no particular order, my first game that I picked for this list was Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man specifically. People might forget because it's been a while, but Marvel Spider-Man almost entirely, or at least mostly, takes place within autumn. It takes place within fall. I love Spider-Man. There is a Halloween section of the game, in particular, that you can enjoy, and of course, Miles Morales, the side story, the follow up takes place in Christmas, right? But if you're looking for a fall, October November experience, I think Spider Man is a good. Obviously, you're not going to be taking in the sights too much, although you can if you want. But yeah, I noticed this on some lists and just wanted to put it out there. I still remember that Halloween level where everyone's dressed up and kind of Peter can just be himself for one day as Spider Man. So I really remember that level. I really liked it. If you want some nice, synchronicity, go play that Halloween level on Halloween.
Yeah, I still love that they put Greg Miller in it as the shirtless Spider-Man.
Yes.
It's an awesome cameo. Yeah, that's a good choice. It's not a game I didn't even think of that, but yeah, that definitely it takes place during Halloween and in the fall. Yeah, and Miles Morales is a Christmas game. All right, so my next game is Pumpkin Jack, which is a 3D platformer where you play as a dancing guy that has a pumpkin head, and it's again a very Halloween aesthetic game for kids, for everybody. It's a short experience, and if you like 3D platformers, I strongly recommend it. It has an awesome Halloween aesthetic. The levels are unique. The gameplay is not the greatest, but it's pretty good. And it's a really fun time to play around Halloween. And so one of those games I recommend people play if they're looking for a non-scary Halloween game. It's very similar to the next game I'm going to be talking about. Strongly recommend everybody checks it out. It's usually on sale on Steam or even on PlayStation and Xbox, and probably Switch for like $5, $8. So I strongly recommend people check out Pumpkin Jack. I mean, there's literally sections where he dances and stuff. It's a really good time. It has kind of like a Nightmare Before Christmas aesthetic to it. I really enjoy it. All right, what's your next game, Dory?
My next game is Firewatch. I was a little conflicted on including this one. Technically, Firewatch takes place over the course of a summer, but it's still very naturalistic, and you do see the leaves change, I believe, as the summer is going on. I don't remember exactly, but I remember really liking this one. It's very serene, very cozy. It's a nice chill game to play. Obviously, there is a bit of a mystery that is gets kind of tense towards the end of the game, but it's a pretty short experience, and even that I wouldn't say is like incredibly tense or very scary or something like that. But yeah, I really liked Firewatch. It's you play as this guy who is trying to escape some of his troubles back home by become like volunteering. I believe it's in the late '80s as a ranger, and basically you're looking out for fires. The game starts very simply but gets more complicated as you go on. I think it's a great time, and it's just a very nice experience. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it has the red and orange leaves and stuff. I believe it has an autumn look to. I
Yeah,
don't.
I think it gets there as the game goes along because it's takes place over the course of a summer. So eventually you start seeing those fall colors a little bit towards the end of the game.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I haven't played that in a long time, so I'm trying to think. But yeah, I guess so, right? 'Cause I remember like the orange and red colors for some reason to that game, like an
Yeah.
aesthetic, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
All right, the next game for me, very similar to Pumpkin Jack, is Medieval, of course. Medieval. I mean, Pumpkin Jack pretty much got its influence from Medieval. Medieval is a, I don't want to say classic. I guess it is for PlayStation One or PlayStation, but Sir Dan and everything's like he's kind of an iconic PlayStation character. Probably not. I mean, I don't think he's well known anymore. The kids today wouldn't know who he is, but if you're like a millennial like me, Sir Dan is probably one of the maybe top 20 PlayStation characters, like in terms of like mascots. But anyway, Medieval Remake is the one I recommend, not the original, only because it's on PS4. It's like it's more accessible and stuff. I think there's a PS5 version as well. But it's a 3D platformer. It takes place in a very Halloween aesthetic again. Surian's a really likable character. He's goofy. There's a comedic tone to the game. I think the level design is pretty cool. It's a good time if you like a Halloween aesthetic as well. So Pumpkin Jack and Medieval are like the two, in Costume Quest are like the three definitive Halloween games in my opinion that are not like horror games. If you're not into horror games, so yeah, Medieval is really good. And have you ever played Medieval, Dory?
No, I didn't grow up playing those games. I think I was aware of them, but I never played them.
Yeah, I think the remake is on PS Plus, but I'm not entirely sure. So, it's pretty cheap, and you can play it on PS4 and stuff. So you can play it on modern consoles. It's worth playing if you like 3D platformers. All right, Dory, what is your next game?
My next game is The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. I really enjoyed another kind of narrative game. It's it has some horrific elements, but I wouldn't call it a horror game by any means. It doesn't have a lot of jump scares or monsters that are chasing you. There's no health, There's no end state or fail state, I don't think. It's a mystery, and you're trying to find the obviously a disappearance. And so the reason why I picked this, obviously it's got spooky vibes, but again, it's not a horror game. And the atmosphere, the graphics, even now, like years later, the graphics of The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is very, very good. and a lot of the foliage is very autumny, very fall kind of vibes from this game in general. So go play it. Great game. I did need a walkthrough to help me get through some parts of it, but I remember really liking it overall.
Yeah, I don't. I haven't played that game in so long. I really don't remember much of it. I know there's like one jump scare in it, but otherwise, it is a horror game. Technically, it's more like I guess a psychological horror game, but it's not really fully a horror game. So I think a person that doesn't like horror can probably be into it, right? But as you said, it has that fall aesthetic. All right, next game on my list is Night in the Woods, which is a pretty well known indie game. People tend to put it on lists and stuff like that. But Night in the Woods is basically a town full of zoomorphic humans, right? They're like people, but they're just animals. And you play as a girl named May who's dropped out of college and she goes back to her town, and basically the whole game is narrative focused and you walk around and talk to people, but there's like a mystery behind it. Like if I remember correctly, there's like a government or something, like a X Files kind of thing background, and like there's a pretty interesting mystery. But the main appeal to this game, I think, is the aesthetic, the fall aesthetic. I think it looks very pretty. It's very fall. It has the colors everywhere. It has pumpkins. It takes place around Halloween time, I believe. It's one of the definitive fall games that I think of when it comes to like fall. So I think it's a really good game. I know, Dory, you didn't like it as much, if I remember correctly. You think you played it this year or last year. It didn't click with you as much, if I remember correctly.
I did like it. I liked the writing, and I thought the characters were excellent. I just felt like it went on a little too long,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I played it, and I don't remember my full review of it. But I did enjoy it,
Yeah,
and I don't regret playing it at all. It's a classic, indie classic for a reason.
yeah,
I did enjoy my time with it. And if you hadn't said this, I probably would have, just because I think it's worth highlighting the autumn vibes of the game, which, I mean, it a lot of it's centered over, I believe, kids either going back to school or just about to go back to school. I can't remember the exact timeline, but it's around fall.
yeah. I mean, the whole thing is covered in Halloween stuff. I mean, I think there was like a festival going on in the game, I believe. That was like they didn't call it Halloween, but it basically was Halloween.
Right.
So,
Yes.
and there's a whole mystery again behind it. So, it has that like I don't know how I want to word it, Stranger Things vibe, right? Maybe there's a mystery behind it, like, but
Sure.
although she's only a kid, she's more like a college dropout, but still young.
Yeah.
All right, what is your fourth game?
Sorry, one sec. My dog's whining. Xena, what's wrong? What are you whining about? I just took you out for 20 minutes. Don't know what's wrong with her. Anyway, that's another mystery for another night in the woods. All right. So I keep going to different things thinking I'll find it, but it's right here. My next game is a short hike. Do you like hiking? Do you like your game short? Boy, should you play this game. It's very fun. And I mean, I don't think a ton of it, but I liked it a lot. And if you want a nice game that has really pretty atmosphere and gets you swept up in the fall season, I think a short hike is a good one. I think I beat it in a couple hours. I can't remember, but
Yeah, short game.
definitely a very fall cozy game.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's like 2 hours long, I want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, very. Like that game is one of the definitive cozy games, and it's always like $2 on sale. So I recommend it for anyone that's looking for a cozy little game to play. It runs beautifully on the Steam Deck or any handheld. So yeah. All right, my last game for this topic is Grim Fandango, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I've completed that game like maybe 5 times in my life, starting with when I was a kid. It is a LucasArts adventure game. It is very classic. It's it's very beloved. I mean, I already talked about how I love Double Fine, and this game is directed by Tim Schafer, who's one of my favorite game directors, and I think this is before Double Fine existed, so it's not really a Double Fine game, but it basically is in a way. But it has that Double Fine charm to it. It takes place in a land of the dead. You play as Manny, who's like an agent, basically. They help people when they die. There's a whole mystery to it. The characters are all iconic and memorable. The settings are all unique, and it's a really awesome adventure game. I really love that game so much. It has like they're all like skeletons and stuff, so it has the Halloween aesthetic to it. Not a Halloween game in any means, but it just has that aesthetic to it. It's a great game to play around October, I think, if you're looking for a cool adventure game. Very accessible now. They remastered it. It's on every platform. It's on Steam. It's usually pretty cheap. Strongly recommend for anyone that wants to play this kind of game. So, very narrative focused game. Dory, any comments on Grim Fandango?
Great game. If you hadn't picked it, I might have considered it. I, you know, puzzle games aren't point and click games aren't really my thing,
Yeah.
but I did like what I played from it. Enjoyed my time with it. Did need a guide, unsurprisingly, but yeah, it's a good pick for spooky season.
Yeah, because it has the whole Day of the Dead aesthetic to it. I mean, that's the whole concept. So, all right. Last game for you, Dory. What is it?
Yeah, my last one is Pines. I love this game. This is probably my favorite game on the whole list, except maybe Spider-Man. But even then, it's actually pretty close. Beacon Pines is, and I'm reading from the Steam thing because I haven't played this game in a few years, but it's a cute and creepy adventure set within a mysterious book. Sneak out late, make new friends, uncover hidden truths, and collect words that will change the course of fate. So it's published by Fellow Traveler. I love a lot of the stuff that they publish. Overwhelmingly positive, and on pretty much all reviews. 98% of the 2,000 reviews are positive, so that should tell you something. It's on. You can buy it for 20. I'd probably buy it for a little less, but 20 is not bad.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It's excellent. Don't go in thinking it's completely cute though. It's not kidding about that creepy adventure part.
Yeah.
There's definitely some messed up stuff here. I know we were talking about, and I meant for this to be the segue here, but we were talking about Stranger Things before, and this is like, what if Stranger Things, but with little animal friends?
Yeah.
And oh my god, it's secretly horrifying. So yeah, this is one of those cutesy games that's not as cute as maybe you think at first.
Yes, this is definitely Stranger Things with animal characters. The story was really good. It had like a storybook exploration, like different like chapters that like I guess if I remember correctly, it jumped around in time or something like that.
Yes,
Like
it did. Yeah.
different scenarios. You got to see different like what happened. This happened and this happened. It was really good. It was like what 4 or 5 hours. I think I beat it in 3 hours. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't remember how long it was for me, but it was probably around there.
No, I remember
maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, it was like 4 to 5 hours for you. I remember us talking about it on the other podcast.
Yep.
It was a really good game.
Yep.
I strongly recommend it. Pretty cheap too. So the good thing about
Yeah, but spooky vibes.
Yeah.
There's even in the trailer on Steam, you can see that there's lots of autumn leaves on the trees and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
nice game to play. But again, it's not quite as cute as it's passing itself off to be.
Absolutely. Well, the good thing about the 10 games we talked about is they're all relatively cheap. They're mostly indie games or old games, and you can find most of these games for less than $10. Spider-Man's probably the most expensive one on that list. And even that game is not that expensive anymore. It's got like maybe $30
Yep.
on sale. So, I mean, $30 for Spider-Man is a steal if you never played it. But yeah, those are our best games to play around Halloween. I mean, there's more games I could have mentioned, but we kept it at 5. Maybe we could do this again in the future. So I know horror games are not for everybody, but these are games have some horror elements to them, but I think they're tame enough for a non-horror fan to enjoy. Even like Beacon Pines has a horror tone to it, but it's still not. It's not bad for someone that doesn't like horror. So. All right, so let's move on to our three spotlights tonight, starting with Digimon Time Stranger, which Dory is going to handle because I stopped
Yeah.
playing, so you can play
Seb,
it.
actually, and I know I should have mentioned this before. Do you want to talk about Absolum? Because you're going to be talking about Absolum and then Little Nightmares 3 back to back. So do you want to split that up?
Yeah, I guess I could talk about Absolum first. That
Yeah.
way, yeah,
I think that makes more sense.
it's only because you had other game and I took it out, so that's why I had
Yep.
it back and forth. All right, so Absolum is a roguelite beat 'em up, and that's pretty much sums up the game. I think if you like roguelites and you like for Hades, for example, you'll enjoy this. And if you like beat 'em ups, you'll really enjoy this. Combine the two together, and you have one of the coolest, most stylish indie games of the year. Really fun game. So let me start with the pros. The combat feels very awesome. Every hit lands pretty hard. Combos are really nice. They flow very well. It's super satisfying once you get in the groove of everything. You get all your combos and stuff. It is really fun. This game is pure fun. It's one of the funnest games of the year. If you like beat 'em ups, it is a blast to play, and it's pretty addicting as well. Uh, every hero plays differently, so you actually want to try them all instead of sticking with each one. The roguelite setup works surprisingly well. Dying never feels like a waste since you are always unlocking something new, which is good because I need that progression. I always hate roguelites that have a bad progression system where you struggle. The art style is pretty slick. The animations are clean, and the whole thing has a cool like energy to it. I think outside the gameplay, the coolest thing about this game is the art style. It kind of has like a, I don't know how to explain it, but like maybe like a gorilla's art style to it. It has like a little edge to it. I could easily see this be a show on like Amazon or something, and it's really cool. I really enjoy it. I actually do hope this becomes like a franchise or something, because it can be really awesome. Maybe do like a YouTube video or something. The music slaps. The fights have intense music and it adds to the vibe. Co-op is, well, I've heard it's really fun. I haven't done the co-op myself, but I heard it's really fun to play with a buddy. I can see that. I mean, beat 'em ups are meant to be played with co-op, and the world has a lot of depth than you would expect. By the time the story picks up, it's pretty easy to get hooked. I think there's actually quite a lot of lore in this game for you, and the story is pretty interesting. And overall, in terms of the pros, the game is really fun as an awesome art style. Surprisingly deep lore to it, not like super deep, but like there's a whole story to it, and it's a fun game to play co-op, and has a good soundtrack. Any questions about the pros? You're on mute.
I hate when I do that because the thing says green and it doesn't tell me that I have myself muted somewhere else. Anyway, very annoying. I should just hit the top of this. So do you think I would like this? I've gone back and forth on this. I'm not a big fan of I'm not a big fan of beat 'em ups, and I'm not a big fan of roguelikes. So I was very skeptical that I would enjoy this. Obviously, I didn't pay for it, so it's not like I'm risking a lot by playing it. But yeah, I'm just curious to get your thoughts on how much it is like Hades or is not, or if you think I would enjoy this at all.
No, I do not think you'll enjoy this game. Because you don't like
Okay.
beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
It's a beat 'em up. So for the good and the bad, I mean the gameplay is fun enough that you might enjoy it. And if you do enjoy the gameplay in this game, then I don't see why you can't play other beat 'em ups, because this is among the best of them, and there's a lot of great beat 'em ups right nowadays. So yeah, so you really just have to you really just have to try it out, because you used to not like turn-based RPGs, and now you like them.
Right.
So you never know. And you don't like roguelites, and Hades is like, one of your favorite games as well.
Yeah.
But the hub world and stuff like that is very similar to Hades. Kind of remind me of Hades.
Hades is also
It
like
is.
a rogue light. Like it has rogue elements, but it's pretty mild about them. There are other rogue likes, such as Spelunky, right, that are like
Yeah.
incredibly hard.
Yeah.
I know that's like an extreme example, but like Binding of Isaac also extremely hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've been tempted to try other roguelikes and see how difficult they are. And even Hades is no walk in the park. Even if you put on God mode, you'll probably still die a good bunch.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, just wanted to know because I love that art style so much, and I wanted to try it, but right now I've just got so many games. So if you think there's even a chance I won't like it, I'll put it off till either next year or never.
I mean, you don't. It's only because you don't like beat 'em ups. If you like beat 'em
Yeah.
ups, then
Well,
absolutely.
and I did try Shredder's Revenge. I know we've talked about this before, but I did try Shredder's Revenge, and it was like I didn't hate it. It wasn't like a bad game. It was like for me, it was like a good game, and everyone around me who loved beating ups was like, "Oh my god, this is such a return to form. This is amazing, right?" It's like with Astrobot, right? I was like, "Oh, this is a great game," and everyone's like, "Oh, it's the second coming of Astrobot." And I'm like, it's a good game, yeah,
Then
sure. I think it's just not my genre, and I
yeah.
think that even the best games that people are going crazy about, which is fine, by the way, of course, I tease, but it's totally fine, of course. Are it's just for me probably going to be, it has to be like it has to be a 10 out of 10 for other people who love the genre for it to be like an 8 out of 10 for me, if that makes sense. So if Absolum is like an 8 out of 10 for you and you like the genre, it's probably going to piss me off, or at least to some extent, right? So anyway, that's all I was curious about, really, in terms of positives.
Yeah. So let's get into the cons. First of all, the start is kind of slow. Takes a few runs before you lock the good stuff. So the gameplay is not the greatest in the beginning. Not that it's bad. It's just that the combos are kind of basic. You're just doing the X button and then Y button on your controller. The square or triangle button if you're on PlayStation. So it's just basic combos at first. So it takes a little time to get going. Some upgrades feel random or not that useful, which can make it uneven. I think it's one of the problems with the roguelite feature of this game. Some of the upgrades are just not great. They don't really do much. I have this problem. That's like one of my one cons with like Hades sometimes, right? You just get like a drop that's just not great for my run, and it's kind of a letdown. But that's just the nature of a roguelite, you know what I mean? So, um, after a while, the enemies and maps start to repeat, so it starts to blur together a bit. It starts to get a bit repetitive at times. The camera can get messy at times during a big fight, especially when everything's exploding all at once and things are going all happening all around you. So, be mindful of that. The tone jumps around sometimes. It can be serious, and then it gets, comedic, and then it gets then it goes back to being serious, so it's not always the smoothest tone. A few levels feel like filler, so we're just a bit of too much backtracking. And solo plays fine, but you can clearly tell this game was meant for co-op. So you're probably gonna have maybe a 9, 10 out of 10 experience with a friend rather than by yourself. So maybe Dory, we can play this game together. I don't know how that works if we were sharing the game. Some games have friend pass and stuff, but I'm not sure how it works with this one. But would you try it out if we played it together? Or
If we
still,
could get it to work, then maybe, yeah. But
yeah,
it's just a shame because there's just a lot of good games coming out, and I want to play Keeper, and
yeah.
I still got to play Look Outside. I want to be Look Outside
Well, a lot of these
before
games,
October's
a lot
over.
of the
So
games you're mentioning are pretty short, so it's not too bad.
yeah,
But anyway, overall, Absolum is a game that's gonna sneak up on you. It's not a. It's actually sold pretty well, and it's gotten really good reviews, and it's definitely gonna be one of the indie darlings of the year. I would put it in the top 5, top 6 indie games I would nominate for indie game of the year. It's super stylish brawler with roguelite stuff that actually works. Combat is really good. Co-op is really good from what I'm hearing, and it's a little rough and repetitive, especially in the beginning. Once you get into it, it's a really fun game. It's one of the most fun games of the year, so I strongly recommend it. It runs like a dream on a handheld, um, including the Steam Deck. Any handheld you have, if you have the new Xbox Rogue Ally X or MSI Claw, any Rogue Ally, Steam Deck runs very great. So strongly recommend, especially for the price. I believe it was like $20, $30. I think it's worth $30. Was it? Let's see. $25. Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely worth $25 if you like beat 'em ups. All right. Any questions about the cons, Dory, or about the overall impression?
Have you already beaten it?
No, no, I haven't beaten it yet. I
How
spent a
many
lot.
hours?
I spent a lot of times like setting things up. A few hours. A few hours.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
Yeah, that was my main questions. I don't really have any questions about the cons. That all makes sense to me. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. I mean, that's a classic. Even Hades, a game I love very much and would probably die for metaphorically at the very least. There are times where I'm like, God damn it, like this run stinks, or I just feel like I'm not making enough progress quickly enough. Like I still get little tinges. They go away pretty fast, but I get little thoughts like that for like a second.
Yeah.
Even playing Hades and Hades 2, and those are
Yeah.
like some of the greats. So,
Absolutely. All right.
yep.
Now let's finally talk about Digimon Story Time Stranger, which Dory's gonna handle. Because like I said, I put it down so Dory can play it, since we're sharing a
Yep.
library, and I got pretty far into it. I feel like I'm like halfway through the game at least, or something like that. But all my
What's the last thing you did? You can describe it vaguely if you don't want to spoil, but
I fought like this big demon guy, and then I time traveled in the future or the past or something like that.
yeah, you were not halfway through.
And not half. It's like
But
30%, 40%.
it feels, yeah, maybe 30 or 40. It feels like you're near the end of the game. I think three different times,
Mm,
haha, in the game, and I'll talk about that later. But that's part of the problem.
yeah.
Um, so yes, sorry, 1 second. Um, yeah, so I know we talked about it last week, but we didn't really talk about it in depth. Seb and I had only played a little bit of it. Now I'm coming at this, and I've put over 40 hours in. I will say 42.8 hours, so nearly 43. Um, it is probably, sorry, I was responding to my partner about something important. It is probably one of my favorite 7 out of 10 games of this year, maybe in a long time. And what I mean by that is the game's not great. There are things about this game that really frustrate me, and I don't know why they exist. And they're like JRPG tropes 101, and they shouldn't exist anymore. You know, like enemies healing themselves, or overly long boss fights, or gimmicks that are really fucking annoying, and dungeons that are overly elaborate. And I'll talk about that. But the game is addictive. I mean, I am having a fucking ball with it. I'm having such a good time. I love Digimon. This is really bringing back a lot of strong, fun, nostalgic memories. I couldn't have probably picked a better like a Steam Deck game to start playing than Digimon. This is a perfect Steam Deck game. Like I just sit in my bed for 2 hours unplugged, and I just have a ball. I just enjoy myself. I've been able to play this game while listening to the new Critical Role season. I've been able to play this game while wrestling is going on. Like it's easy, and you can put on, like Seb said last time, and I've become the master of this ever since. You can put up the animation speed so battles go by faster. You can put on auto mode, which I do every now and then. I've literally been like watching something or like eating or something, and like the Digimon are just doing it for me, right? Which is awesome. I love that shit. So yeah, probably one of my favorite 7 out of 10 games, because what I do like is really, really strong, but what I don't like frustrates me and gets in the way of this being, higher. But anyway, we'll talk about the negatives later. First off, let's get into the pros. Just the amount of Digimon is really impressive. I think all the different kinds of Digimon that are out there, you have like multiple different seasons, and from, different movies, different generations will recognize different Digimon. Some of these ones I'm like, I don't fucking know who the hell this is, but they look cool, right? That's almost universal with Digimon. As opposed to Pokemon evolutions, which I feel like sometimes look kind of silly or dumb. Almost always, I find Digimon get cooler as they evolve more. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because they use guns. Like, I know everyone thinks Pal World, like, ripped off Pokemon, but honestly, sometimes it looks in design, it feels like they just ripped off Digimon more. But either way, it doesn't really matter.
Well,
I
that I want
really
to
like the designs.
I
Go
want to
ahead.
add on to that.
Yeah.
As someone who's been playing Pokemon ZA as well, the contrast is very jarring. Have how much evolution, pun intended, Digimon has taken as a franchise in gaming, where like it has like Persona level, Final Fantasy level animations that are absolutely incredible with full voice acting and full story. And while Pokemon ZA has much better animation, it the combat animation and stuff still feels like a major step down from where Digimon is
Yeah.
right now. Digimon feels like it's 2025 and Pokemon is still 10 years behind. Even though it's a great game and I'll talk about it next week, but this Digimon game has really taken a big step in the animation and
And a lot of people
things
are
like that.
noting it. I mean, I saw under a lot of comments for advertisements of the Xena. Really? I'm gonna stop playing with her because she gets too excited. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go. Um, she gets too excited and then she just growls and barks because she's happy. Anyway, I noticed under some ads of the Pokemon game. Now she's looking at me very sadly. She's like, "How could you do this to me?" But anyway, that people were like, "Oh, well, we're not going to be there day one. We're playing Digimon or something like that, or Digimon's better, or look at these, like you said, look at these animations." I do think the animations look really good. I wouldn't say it's full voice acting. As you get deeper into the game, there are some parts where suddenly people just stop
No,
talking
yeah.
and
No,
they only use text. And of course, you're
y-
playing a silent
you're
protagonist.
right. It's
So,
yeah, the voice
yeah.
acting in the game's still lacking too, but in comparison to Pokemon where it has
Yes, but it's better.
zero
But it's
voice acting,
it's
zero.
still better than Pokemon,
Because
which is a sad.
I don't want to go on a
Yeah.
tangent, but the Pokemon game has really good animation. Like it's actually a big step. It's really improved, but it's very
Yeah.
jarring when the animation's really quality and everybody's talking and it has zero dialogue, zero voice acting. It's
Yeah.
very weird.
It's just something that Nintendo has always been very finicky about with
Yeah,
voice actors, and I don't really understand why. But anyway, back to Digimon.
yeah,
Uh, so, like I said, the amount of Digimon, impressive. The mix is good. I usually go with my favorites, season 1 through 3.
Gen One.
I haven't seen many, yeah, I haven't seen many Gen 4, Digimon.
I haven't
Series 4
either.
Digimon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have like some of the tamer ones from season 3, but otherwise most of my
Yep.
party is season 1. Because they don't have a lot of like. I mean, I haven't watched it. I stopped watching Digimon after season 3. And then I watched like
Right.
Try and stuff, but that's still season 1 characters.
Yes. So the game, like I already said, the game's very fun, hard to put down. I've definitely put off some obligations because I'm busy playing Digimon. And again, it's not a fantastic game, but what it does and what I enjoy about it, it's so good at
Yeah.
and so easy to play. I mean, there are exceptions. We'll talk about them. But generally speaking, it's so easy to pick up and play. And so that just makes you want to play more.
Yeah.
The story actually gets better as you go. I'm literally in the last area of the game. I couldn't quite beat the game before the podcast. I tried my best, but I hit this roadblock at one point with Calamaramon, and I had to. I almost actually put the game down. I almost quit and gave up because the way that you level up your Digimon is obviously either you grind, you digivolve them by having the certain stats, or you do this thing called enhancements, and you basically load other Digimon under. This would be brutal if this was Pokemon, but because they're all digital, it's fine. Anyway, so they load other Digimon onto your main party, and that makes them level up really fast. I know I am going to be called a Weenie Hut Junior for this. I feel kind of bad about doing it, and I know that's stupid because it's a video game within a video game, but like I just didn't want to do it. I felt weird tributing my Digimon, so a weaker Digimon, so my stronger Digimon can get stronger. It just felt kind of fucked up to me. I'm like that scene from Kids in the Hall where it's like, are we the baddies? Like I just felt bad doing it, but eventually I did have to do it, and that's how I beat Calamaramon. I was not happy, and I almost put the difficulty down to beginner. I was going to give it one more shot with different skills and up and higher levels. And I was like, if I don't do it, I'm doing beginner, which I probably would have won. But I just barely managed to beat her, and that was a big roadblock because honestly, I think I stopped playing Digimon for like a day or so, and if I hadn't, I probably would have beaten it by now. I also like downloaded a game or two because I was so sure. I was like so sure. Part of me anyway was so sure that I wasn't gonna keep playing. But anyway, I made it through. The environments look very pretty. I'll take a ton of screenshots of this game, but definitely more than maybe you would think. Like I said, the story gets pretty good. There's fun character moments. There's some heartfelt like VO every now and then that sounds good, and the writing's pretty decent. It's not. I know it sounds like damning praise or faint praise, but like for a silly like anime game, I feel like I could see this in a season of Digimon. Like I could see this happen in terms of being a full length season. I do think what Digimon really benefits from is it's not E for everyone necessarily. I'll just give you a few examples. There's reference to alcohol. One Digimon is literally an alcoholic and is talked about multiple times as being an alcoholic. A couple of the Digimon talk about how hot the other Digimon are. There are boobs galore in this game. Whoever designed this game, obviously Bandai Namco, but like whoever was like the character designer, they really were into tall, powerful women with big boobs, because there is a lot of that going on. And I mean, my finger may have slipped and I hit the screenshot button once or twice. I don't know, who can say. But yeah, it's funny though because a lot of the Digimon who are like super attractive, they're all like humanoid characters, of course. But yeah. Anyway, I'm a weirdo. But the combat system is the main draw here. And I don't fully understand it still after 40 hours, which feels like a problem with the game and not a problem with me. Like, obviously, they do tell you, like what's going to hurt the most and what's going to hurt the least after you do some experimenting, or you can do the auto battler to find out the easy way, which is what I do sometimes, just to find out what the weaknesses are. I never remember the rock, paper, scissors. I never remember that system. The attribute stuff confuses me. We'll talk about it later. I'm getting ahead of myself. But generally speaking, I find the combat very fun and addicting. And it's the main reason why I play the game. Because although I like the story and I think it's good, it's not great. And it's a lot of tropes I've seen before. And there are some cool twists too. Some cool, turns towards the good side or towards the bad side that I really liked. Or that I thought were worth celebrating, at least on a small level. It's capable writing. In general, I think the Digivolving and cross art system, your agent skills, are really cool. I've stuck with Aura the whole time because it boosts my stats, makes me unable to have my stats debuffed, and heals me a moderate amount, which is pretty good. But I know some people swear by Field, which boosts all of your stats like really high. And then some people swear by Burst, which does a ton of damage. Unfortunately, you can only do one at a time, and you can't change mid-battle, which really sucks. And I don't understand the reasoning behind that. That feels really old-fashioned to me. But yeah, once you're in with one in a battle, you're stuck with it until the next battle. Autosaves and manual saves make it really hard to lose progress. I've never lost any progress in this game because it autosaves very generously, and you can manually save whenever you want. So not much to say about that, but... Oh, and I like that Digivolving doesn't use any resources. I mean, it takes resources to get to the Digivolving, but once you do Digivolve, you don't lose anything, right? Like you don't lose any resources. You don't have to, I don't know, you don't have to make up the difference in crafting, right? You just have to train your Digimon or level them up or get certain traits done. And then let's see. I like the fast travel system. So that has Digimon like Birdramon, Pegasusmon, Master Blimpmon, Whalemon, whatever. And that all works really nicely. It's really cool because towards the end, no spoilers, but towards the end of the game, you are, obviously the game's like, okay, well, be careful because this is the point of no return. And right before the point of no return, you can basically time skip all over the place and you can go to previous places that you weren't able to go to. And if you're tracking a quest, at least a side quest, at least in my experience, it'll bring you like right to the right area and you won't have to like fuck around and like, oh, was it here? Was it there? Like I'm in the right time period, but am I, So, I mean, it's called Time Stranger. I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying there's fucking time travel in the game, right? That's the whole conceit. But yeah, the fast travel system is really nice. Bergermon, excuse me, almost always takes you where you need to go really quickly, and the load times are low. I appreciate the difficulty settings. I know some people bash on difficulty settings, the game journalist setting or whatever nerd shit they want to say. But I think it's really cool and of them to have a invincibility mode where if you're like, fuck this, I'm out, I just want to enjoy the story and stop worrying about these Digimon KOing me in one hit, then you've got invincibility mode. And that only happens if you lose on beginner, I think 2 or 3 times. And those are all my pros. Seb, any questions or comments? Anything you want to elaborate on?
No, it's pretty similar to what I said last week, I think.
Yeah.
It,
And I didn't copy his notes, I swear. No plagiarism here.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it. But it's a good game, not a great game, but it's really fun and addicting. And look at you
Yes.
carrying the JRPG topic. Come a long way in a short amount of time. So what are the cons of Digimon?
Sorry, talking to my partner about dinner, which she decided to ask me while I'm talking about this. And yes, I'm awesome. JRPG is great. So the cons. I know a couple of these you've talked about last week. The boss fights go on too fucking long. They're just too long. I don't. They have way too much health. They don't take enough damage. I know last week we talked about how the attribute system and the rock paper scissors system really don't seem to come into play enough. Boy, howdy, do they come into play later as you get on the game. You're really dependent on doing as much damage as possible as quickly as possible, especially with the bosses, right? And so yeah, it can be frustrating. They just have too much HP, and often it's really tricky to actually stop them from doing their ultimate attack. And even if you guard and are appropriately leveled, sometimes you'll still get KO'd, so it's kind of annoying. Some of the late game dungeons, I'm thinking about two in particular, an ice and fire dungeon that kind of revolve around each other. Very cool idea. Way too complicated. There's all these elevators. There's all these things you got to melt. You got to go here, then you got to go back here, and then you got to go back there. And it just feels like padding. And it's just, shout out to Luis, but it's just a kind of a waste of my time. I just don't. I don't really appreciate games that make you backtrack that much. That's one of the reasons I struggle with Metroidvanias or struggle with, any game really that makes you do a lot of backtracking, but especially Metroidvanias I'm thinking about. It can be frustrating. Some of the dungeons are just kind of, frustrating I said frustrating twice. It can be frustrating because some of the dungeons just feel overly long. Like I'm at the end of the game at 40 hours, but I really feel like the game should have been 30 hours. I think 30 hours would have been perfect for this. Now, plus side missions, if it's a 40-hour or 50-hour, similar to Outer Worlds, I think that's great. But side quests, to go on to another tangent, are just not particularly interesting. And because you get so many anomaly points, which helps you digivolve to old champion. Really? Um, so she's like clattering at the pans. Um, but so the what was I saying? So the anomaly points, right? So they help you get, your Digimon to higher levels. So you're able to get to champion, ultimate, mega plus, or whatever comes after that. But it's just like it just doesn't feel well balanced between digivolving and levels. Like I like the systems, but I just feel like they're not super well implemented. And sometimes I'll be like fucking, ruler of the world, and then other times I'll be taking a dirt nap. So I just don't really understand, and it's not even consistent. I'll go for long stretches of time where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm fine, everything's leveled well, and then I'll go to the next area and I'm just getting fucking floored, right? Or I'll get to the boss after defeating the minions very easily, and the boss will fucking floor me, right? Either because they have a stupid gimmick that like you can't use items or you can't heal yourself, and then I'll fucking die, right? And I'll have to rethink my whole party, which I know is part of JRPGs and is a sign of a good JRPG, yada yada. To me, it just takes up more of my time, and it's like I'm already at this point spent 30 plus hours in this game. I would like to beat it by now, please. Zeb, I don't know. You look like you want to add something.
No, I'm good. I agree
Okay.
though.
Just one.
I do agree.
But yes, because the side quests are not very good, but they're important to get anomaly points, which helps you digivolve, it feels like a burden that you kind of have to take on. And I do recommend, by the way, doing the side quests when they come up. Not because they're amazing, but because if you don't have ultimates by the time you get to Calamaramon, at least in my experience, you're pretty hecked. Unless your Digimon are really high leveled. You are absolutely going to have to grind in this game at several key points. I've had to. So it's kind of a bummer, but I mean, it's a JRPG. I'm not that bummed out about it. The presentation is a problem. The silent pro tag stuff just feels out of date. And the stiff animations, characters will go like, or go like, and they'll like make these big dramatic motions, and they're not saying anything, and it's like, it just feels awkward and bad. Especially when like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Especially jarring when like the Digimon animations are like incredible, and like when they especially they do like a big special move or something, and then like the human characters are just so stiff, and it feels
and I get that it's called
budgeted.
Digimon, not Humanmon, but like, can you put some amount of love into the characters and their animations and how they look?
Yeah.
Like, even how they look. Like, yeah, they look pretty anime, and like, you know, they look nice enough, but they look off.
I mean,
like, your character just looks off.
It's a step up from like typical Bandai Namco Digimon games and stuff like that, but it still could be better for sure.
And then sometimes they'll try to do like these funny physical prop comedy moments where somebody will like fall, or they'll hit each other and they'll go bing, bang, boom. And I'm like, is this the fucking 1950s? What are we doing with these sound effects? Like, this isn't funny. That's just a minor thing, but it bothered me. And it happens multiple times, so clearly they're proud of the sound effect. The game, I already said this, feels padded at points, should have been 30. And I just feel like there's poor pacing. Basically, the main quest of the game, and I'm going to try to say this vaguely so I'm not spoiling, you have to recruit 8 allies so you can open up this door, so you can go fight the final boss. It's just, every single area takes at least, like, I want to say a couple hours, you know, because you've got a quest here, and then sometimes you got to go back and then come back 8 years later, and then come back 8 years earlier, and again, it feels too long. It could have gotten what it wanted to say out of the way much faster than it does.
Yeah, even where I was at, there was way too much padding with the map. Like, it was too much going point A to point B, back and forth, backtracking, and fighting the same Digimon over and over again. It was getting very repetitive.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the auto system and the animation multiplier, man, I don't know. I don't know if I play this game.
Yeah.
But because it's there, it makes the game a lot more accessible, right?
Yeah. It's a bit dated in that sense.
What's that?
It's a bit dated. Like the gameplay the gameplay core of this game feels like a 90s RPG where it's very grindy, very repetitive.
Yeah. I've seen people compare it to, and I don't know if this is true, but Shin Megami Tensei, because of its attribute and system, and the way that it has like the rock paper scissors and stuff like that. I talked about, again, another thing I talked about a little too ahead of time, but I don't understand the system. I'll see one Digimon do a water. I know it's not Pokemon, okay? I know it's not Pokemon, but I see a water type Pokemon attack a fire type Pokemon with a water attack, and it resists it. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, it's just a basic level that is just so unintuitive to me. I don't understand the system at all. And not at all. I do understand it somewhat, but frequently I am confused about why certain Digimon resist certain things, and why certain things are super effective and other things are not. I know I used a Pokemon term, and you know, this is not like Pokemon in that way. It's a lot more complicated. The stat system, the character traits, the personality traits, the training, like this is a different beast, pun intended, from Pokemon, and I understand that. I don't necessarily, just because I understand it doesn't mean I have to like it. I find it confusing, borderline baffling at times. I remember seeing a fire attack on a fire type Digimon. And of course, they're not called fire types, right? They're called virus types or vaccine or whatever. And it was like super duper effective. And I'm like, but that doesn't make any sense. You're just adding fire to the fire. How does that work? Anyway, so it frustrates me. It's a quibble. Maybe it's not a huge deal, but it does frustrate me, and it's their system of how you're supposed to make progress in the game, and I feel like it should be more it should be more transparent. I mean, Seb said this last week. That's how the menu system should be too. This is way too complicated. Why are there 10 different icons in the main menu? And then when you click on one, why are there 5 more? Like, it's way too much. And then I can never remember which button goes to where. And I'm 40 hours in. Another problem I have with the story, there's too much big bad evil guys. There's too many. The game either needed to narrow its focus or implement this idea better. But Seb, you'll probably notice this too. The guy that you just beat barely ever mentioned in the next like 20, 30 hours. And then like there's like 3 or 4 other BBEGs who just come out of nowhere or like show up with very little setup. It's just like, why did we do this? Like, there's too many bosses. Actually, there's just too many bosses in this fucking game. It reminds me in a weird way of Wukong. Like, although in that game I didn't feel like there was too many bosses because the combat was so excellent. But you get my point. It's kind of like Wukong, but with Digimon. There's too many fucking bosses. I don't know why this game felt like we needed to have a council of masterminds, but it's not even a council, right? It's not even like it is in Kingdom Hearts 1, where all the Disney villains are sitting around and then Ansem comes out at the end, right? Spoilers. It's more like, oh, this is the BBEG. No, no, no. This is the BB. Oh, but this is and they keep pulling the rug under your leg. And eventually I'm like, bro, I moved my leg away from that rug like 20 minutes ago. Like, I knew that wasn't the BBEG. I'm sorry for saying this acronym. It's very popular in D&D, so it's what I'm using, and it's just fun to say. But it's just, there's too many villains. Too many villains. And then there's some narrative shifts in the game that don't make a lot of sense to me, and they try to justify it. It's time travel. I'm okay with a little bit of fuckery and stuff not making sense because it's science fiction. But there's some stuff where they're like, well, this happened because this. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You didn't even speak English in that sentence, I'm pretty sure. So it's anime logic, and I love Kingdom Hearts, so it's not that big of a deal to me. But it does get a little tiresome to be kind of talked down to, like, oh, well, if you're wondering why this happened, this is the reason. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Please elaborate. No, we will not elaborate. You will just have to accept our very, very basic, bland explanation. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. There's some character shifts too. Like, there's a guy, again, back to the BBG stuff. There's a character who's set up to be the big bad evil guy, but then just suddenly isn't. And just like in the span of a conversation, I mean, it makes sense because you have ties to this character throughout the game. But all of a sudden they just decide, nah, I won't be evil anymore, and we'll fight the real threat, the 5th real threat in the fucking game. So I don't know, it's like bad writing. It's just not good. It comes out of nowhere. But I don't want to go on too much longer. I will say overall it's a 7 out of 10 if that wasn't clear. I really want to give this a Starfield 8. I know we were talking about that the other day. I really want to give this a Starfield 8. It feels like a 7.5 for me. It's a really strong 7.5 or 3.5 or 3.75 out of 5 or whatever. But every time I find myself getting into Digimon, it just pulls me back out. It's that exact opposite of that quote, right? Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Every time I'm in, they pull me back out. Like, there's something in this game that frustrates me, annoys me, is a dumb JRPG trope that should have been banished to the Shadow Realm like 10 years ago, at least. It's a fun but sometimes frustrating experience. I do recommend it very heavily to any Digimon fan. I know that there are people. It's got a 92 audience approval rating on Metacritic, I want to say. It's very high. So people are loving it, and that's awesome. I do think it's a good game. But it's not a great game, and I think some people are letting nostalgia or their hatred for Pokemon and what it's become, which, I mean, luckily the new Pokemon game sounds good, so that's good. But I think people are kind of letting that bias them positively towards Digimon. But look, I mean, I'm not going to be mad about the game getting a higher score than a lower score. I'd rather have a 92 than a 42 or something.
Yeah.
So, performance-wise, I haven't had any issues. I do have some frame drops while playing on the Steam Deck. I have no issues at all playing on my laptop, which obviously. Steam Deck does have some frame drop issues, but they're nothing major. And that's it. That's Digimon Time Stranger. Anything you wanted to say about my cons?
No, I pretty much what I agree with it. It's a it's a good foundation for the future. There's a lot of things they can build on. They have a good foundation. I think they have a good. The animation could be better, but it's pretty good. It really brings the franchise. It moves the story forward, the whole franchise forward. So they could really add on to this and make a really awesome JRPG in the future. So this is not like a masterpiece. This is not Persona 5 or something, but this is definitely a big step forward in the right direction for Digimon games. And then now they can build on it. So it's a 7 out of 10 for me as well. Probably 7. I would say 7.5 is the most accurate number for me, and for you as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Yes,
pretty good.
I would say that. And I do want to add, I haven't beaten the game, but unless something absolutely crazy happens in terms of how good or how bad it is, and honestly, I lean more towards bad because it's a final boss in a JRPG.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to change my score. And the most it probably would change my score is like a 7.5 to a strong 7, right?
Yeah.
Even if the final boss is total bullshit, I usually give games a pass, at least for one boss. Although I kind of think I'm running out of passes for this game. But yeah, it's unless something seriously big happens, this is the last we'll talk of it. But it is a good game. All Digimon fans definitely owe it to yourself to go check it out. And also, we're getting a new. I don't know if I'll check it out. I'm not saying I'm going to watch it, but we are getting a new Digimon series. I forget what the hell it's called, but it's coming to Crunchyroll.
It's already
soon,
out.
I think, or it might already be out. I forget.
Yeah, I already watched the first 2 episodes. Third episode came out yesterday, I want to say. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not amazing, but the animation's really good. All right, so let's get into the final topic of the night, the main event, which is Little Nightmares 3. I have played it. My time on Steam is off again, but I'm near the end. So I got the gist of the game really. It's a pretty short game. Let me start with the pros. The atmosphere is top notch. I mean, it's Little Nightmares, right? That's the best part of the franchise, I think. It's eerie, it's surreal, it's very unsettling. There's some really awesome visual moments, especially when there's a big enemy destroying a building or something, and it's really cool to look at. It's like when you play a game where there's like a King Kong's in the background and smashing things, and you have to dodge the giant arm and stuff. It's really cool, kind of. The concept is really cool. The creature design in this game is really awesome. I think the co-op is good with the friend. It's worth playing with a friend. The puzzles, it says playing online with a friend changes how you solve puzzles and you survive the game together. So I think the co-op makes a big difference in this game. I think you'll enjoy this game a lot more if you play co-op. The world feels rich and is detailed. There's good lighting. I think there's good sound design. I think there's good environmental storytelling that's worth paying attention to. I think that this game does all that really well. The protagonist and the locations keep things from feeling totally recycled. It feels different than the other Little Nightmares games in terms of like how things look. There's a few standout sequences that happen later in the game. There's some set pieces that are genuinely tense, which is part of Little Nightmares. That's one of the best parts of the game, the franchise. And there's great pacing and creative level ideas that capture the series' dark charm. Basically, this game is, I don't know how to explain, but it's like it's just a basic sequel to the franchise. It does nothing new with it. It's just the same old, same old. It's like a different developer, which it is. Supermassive Games made their own version of the game, even though it has the same franchise name. It just feels like a, I don't know. It feels like a recycled game, basically. It doesn't take the next step like Little Nightmares 2 did from Little Nightmares 1. It just feels like Little Nightmares 2.5. And it's a bit of a letdown in that sense. So any questions about the pros? I know my pros weren't super strong, but the main thing is the main point of the game really is the atmosphere is awesome. The creature design is awesome. You know, there's a lot of environmental storytelling. Yeah, you have to put the pieces together. Like that stuff is good. This is tense. Like someone that's not into horror will find this game pretty scary. I don't find it scary at all, but I could see that. It's like it's a tense game, so in that sense, those are all good positives, and it's a short experience, right? So it's not a big deal. It's not a marquee game or anything like that. But I was hoping this franchise could move forward, and it just doesn't. So, any questions about the pros?
Sorry, I muted myself. No, I don't have any questions. It doesn't surprise me. Is there anything? I mean, just a question about the game in general. I mean, does anything come off as different now that Supermassive is behind it, or does it feel like a game that the previous devs, whose name I forget, I apologize, um, like they already had in the can, like they were already ready, and then Supermassive took over, or do you feel like it's just like the same damn, like they copied their homework or something?
They just copied their homework.
Okay.
This game is incredibly safe. It
Yeah.
like where Tarsier is taking the next step. It feels like Tarsier, I think that's how you say it, which is a Swedish developer. They're the ones that did the first two Little Nightmares game. It feels like they're taking the next step with their new game, Reanimal. It's a very confusing like what happened, right? Because Tarsier didn't make the third game, even though they made the first two. There's just something happened with Bandai Namco and stuff like that, and I think Little Nightmares is owned by also by Bandai Namco. I don't know what happened. There's probably a whole story to
I'm
it.
confused as well.
But the point is, this game plays it incredibly safe. While Tarsier is taking the next step of Reanimal. Reanimal looks like the true Little Nightmares 3. It's Little Nightmares 3 in everything but name. I mean, this gameplay looks very similar and stuff, but it looks bigger and the environments look more cool. This game looks like this game just played it very safe. Is the best way I could describe it, which is gonna be very disappointing to some people.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have any questions about the pros. I think they all make sense.
Yeah.
And as you know, I already tried Little Nightmares 1. It's not for me, but I'm glad that fans are getting more options, I guess. But yeah, I kind of just wish the original people had stuck with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, continue with your cons.
So my cons, as I said, it plays the franchise very safe. It just feels like copying the homework is the best way I would describe it. Yeah, it does nothing new. There's no local co-op, which is a bummer because it can be a cool game playing with a friend if they're at your house, but it's not a big deal. Platforming, the big problem I think is platforming still has that floaty trial and error vibe to it, and the camera sometimes makes depth perception tricky. The AI partner can get in the way when playing solo, which makes certain puzzles or escapes feel clunky. The AI is not great. This game is a lot better if you play with a co-op partner. Some areas feel like filler. You're just walking through spooky halls waiting for something to happen. The story just doesn't quite hit the same. I think Little Nightmares 1 and 2 had really good stories, really good mysteries. There's a big lore, a lot of lore to it. A lot of YouTubers get to deep dive into it. It's really interesting, like people's theories and stuff like that. This game just doesn't have that. I think from what I'm seeing, that's people's biggest issue with this game. Is the story just doesn't hit the same. Characters are just not as memorable as the previous protagonists, and it just feels like an inferior version of Little Nightmares. It's Little Nightmares 3, but it really isn't the true Little Nightmares 3. Is that what it feels like? It just feels like 2.5. Why Reanimal is the true Little Nightmares 3. So I wish they improved the gameplay a bit. I think that's the biggest issue is the gameplay is still, it has that clunky feel to it. Like you're just very floaty. A lot of trial and error. But I guess that's the genre too, so. Any questions about the cons?
No, none for me.
Yeah, I don't regret buying the game or playing the game. I mean, it's a good game. I sound very negative, like I want to give it like a 5 out of 10 or like it's a 7 out of 10. It's a good game. It's just not what it could have been is the best way I could describe it. So the way I would describe it, it's more disappointing than bad. I think that's fair to say. Because disappointing does not mean it's a bad game. It just means it didn't live up to expectations. And I think people would agree with that. I don't. Some people are
I,
saying it's like destroyed the franchise. It's the worst game ever. It's like 5 out of 10 for it. Like I think that's clickbait and over dramatic. It's franchise is fine. It's not a giant franchise anyway. You're not destroying a franchise. It's not Last of Us Part 3 being a bomb. You know what I mean? If the Last of Us Part 3 was a big giant bomb and it was a horrible game, then yeah, that destroys the franchise. But this is Little Nightmares 3. It's a double A indie. You know, it's not a major game. I mean, I guess it's not indie because it's Bandai Namco, but you get what I'm saying. It's just not a major
it's
thing.
very indie shaped.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember us talking about the follow up to Budokai, right? Dragon Ball Z Budokai, and like you and I were so excited for that game. And at least for me, I can't
Oh
remember your
yeah,
exact thoughts,
yeah.
but for me,
Sparking
like
Zero.
that was
Yeah.
one of the most disappointing games of the year, just because like
Mm.
it just didn't innovate. It didn't do much
Yeah,
in
yeah.
terms of it played it way too safe. And I know this wasn't a big deal to you, but the story mode was very disappointing to me because one of my
Yeah.
biggest favorite parts of that, and I think of a lot of Dragon Ball Z people, and I know this is totally off topic, but
Well,
is
same
playing the
company.
story mode and doing the what if
Yeah.
stuff,
No,
right?
I didn't like
And
that
it
either.
just didn't
Yeah.
have enough of that.
Yeah, it was just that was disappointing for sure. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Sparking Zero was definitely disappointing, and it's very same company because Bandai Namco published both of these games.
Right, right. I
It's
forgot. I just as you said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Same publisher.
it's very similar. It's just this game is very safe, just like Sparking Zero was, and it just doesn't live up to the hype. That's basically the best way to describe. I mean, obviously Dragon Ball is a way bigger franchise than Little Nightmares, but
Right.
still same idea. Yeah, that's the best way I could describe it's worth playing on sale. It's a good Halloween to style, like Halloween game. It's a good game to play in October. It's not like it's gonna take 35. It's not like a JRPG where it's like you're playing 40 hours of this game and you're just not enjoying it. You just want to get through it. I'm so tired of playing this game. I'm bored. I'm dying to finish this game. It's not like that at all, right? It's like it's 4 to 6 hours. You'll probably like it if you like these kind of games. I mean, Dory, you won't like this game at all. Obviously, you don't like 3D platformers first of all, but you also don't like trial and error, that kind of gameplay too, where like you die multiple times. You have to get the timing right, and I think that
Yeah,
I think the
I found
only
that very annoying
yeah
in the original.
I think the only game you like that in was Bramble, because Bramble was very similar to Little Nightmares.
Yeah, and that was also a very short game, and even
Yes.
that I wasn't like massively in love with, but I
Yeah.
did enjoy it. It was
Yeah.
4 out of 5.
Yeah. So I think you should try Little Nightmares too, because I think it's much better than the first game. I mean, the first game is good in my opinion, but the second game really took the next step. I think. I think you might really like Reanimal. You might not love it, but I think you'll probably like it. But I think you would like this game too. It's just for Little Nightmares fans, I think this is a disappointment. Will I say it's the most disappointing game of the year? Nah. I mean, it's not that serious, right? I'd have to think about what's my most disappointing game of the year. But yeah, I think that's it. Any more questions or?
No, I think you handled it well, and I totally understand why it might not be
Yeah.
a big win for you. In a weird way, I think it's both a confusing time to be a fan of this franchise, but also a good time because now you have two different companies making basically the same game, and
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think Reanimal will probably be a better experience for folks.
Yeah, Reanimal is published by THQ Nordic, so I'm really curious how that ended up happening. It says, just going really quick tangent. Reading Wikipedia. It says the game is currently being developed by Tarsier Studios, which is a Swedish company. They created the Little Nightmare series. After they were acquired by Embracer Group in 2019, the studio in 2021 announced that they will be working on a new IP instead of continuing the series. Franchise owner Bandai Namco trusted Supermassive Games to develop Little Nightmares 3, while Tarsier worked on Reanimal. The team considered Reanimal to be a spiritual successor to the Little Nightmares series, although it was designed to be more terrifying than its predecessors. So basically, Little Nightmares owns the IP. I mean, excuse me. Bandai Namco owns the
I
Little
was like, wait,
Nightmares.
what?
Bandai Namco owns the Little Nightmares IP. So when the developer got purchased by someone else, they couldn't use the IP anymore. So that's what happened. So
Got it.
Reanimal looks great. I'm very excited for it. All right, that concludes our show. It was pretty good time. We got an hour and 15 minutes. Next week, the main topic will be Pokemon ZA, and I'll go a deep dive into that game. And I also beat Wonder Stars yesterday. I could have talked about it today, but I wasn't sure if we had too many topics. So I could talk about that next week as well. And there's a couple other games I could talk about too. So I've been very busy with gaming.
Yeah.
I had a
I think
three
next week
day
I'll be
period.
talking Keeper from
Yeah, and I'll be talking about Keeper
Double
too.
Fine.
Yeah, that'll be one of my main games too.
Yes, I'll be talking Keeper, and I will start playing Wonder Star. How long did it take you to beat? Like 5 hours?
No, 15 hours.
10?
It's a 15 hour.
15?
It's a
Okay,
15-hour game. Yeah.
that's not too bad. I will prioritize Keeper, but I'll try to put some time into Wander Stars, at least half of the game, like maybe 8 hours or so, and we'll see. But I should have Keeper beaten for sure, and I
Yeah.
should have at least half of Wander Stars. So I'll be able to talk about both those too.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not playing Pokemon. There's too many games this month. Even if it's an 8 out of 10, I'm still not really sure that I want to
Yeah.
play it. But
Yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
The good thing about Keeper is you'll be playing it on Game Pass, and I'll be playing it on Steam, which I already own.
Yep.
So we don't have to worry about sharing it and getting in each other's ways or anything like that. So we could both play it. Do you know how long it is? I haven't even looked at how long to beat.
I've heard it's fairly short, which I mean shouldn't be surprising. I think I remember the IGN review mentioning how long it was.
Yeah.
But I don't remember off the top of my head.
Because Double Fine Games does make semi long games. They don't make like 3-hour games either.
So the overview from Dumb AI says 4 to 9 hours. The IGN review said that it took her about approximately 6 hours.
Yeah,
So,
6 hours is about what I expected.
yeah, that'll be something I prioritize, and then I'll put another 8. I put 40 hours into Digimon, but I was really into it. But these past, man, how long have I been playing it for? Like a week and a half. Anyway,
Right.
40 hours in about a week and a half. So, I should be able to beat both games, but we'll see. It just depends on how much time. I also this week I didn't have school. I have a little break in between my classes before the next wave starts. So, I had that advantage as well. I had more time to play. So this week
Yeah.
I don't my class, but I only have one class instead of two. Anyway, all this is besides the point. I'm glad we were able to get all this out. I'm also hoping to talk about Metal Eden at some point. So those 3 games, Metal Eden, Wonder Star, and Keeper, are next on my list to play. So, not to mention Ninja Gaiden and Outer Worlds. And just somebody shoot me, please. Good
Yeah.
lord.
And then
Luckily, both those 2 games are on Game Pass, so I already have them.
Yeah, and then like for me, Metroid's right around the corner, and Octopath's right around the corner, and I'm forgetting all the games in November, so it's gonna be. Well, I think November slows
I'm looking
down
forward
a
to
bit.
December. December is usually my big month, and I know
Yeah.
it is for you to some extent too, where I'm able to really cut loose and like
Yeah.
play some more games than I would be able to normally.
Well, I get
So,
winter break, and then school's not. I don't have to. Well, I am busy, but I do get time. It does slow down because we're just like watching movies and stuff. So, all right. Well, you have a good night. Take care, everybody, and happy Halloween season. I believe next week is not even like we're gonna be right into November. Actually, we're gonna miss Halloween. Well, no,
we're gonna miss
no.
Halloween by like a day.
Yeah, not next week. The week after, we're gonna miss Halloween.
Oh.
Halloween's on a Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're gonna be recording.
yeah, we're gonna miss it by like literally a day. But
November
we'll
1st.
we'll wish you a happy Halloween next week, I guess.
Yes. All right, bye guys.
Bye, everybody.